Yes, welcome in. One and all. This is Full 10 Yards at Betting Podcast. After my return last week, you wonder why I returned this week because I'm absolutely dog crap at picking bets. So, anything to take away from this podcast, just do not listen to anything I say. We'll bring in the people that do know a bit more, a bit more than I do, or at least have a bit more luck than I've had this year. Adam, we'll bring you in first, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not sure you can claim we're a little bit better after last week. Last week was a write-off for everyone, I think. So it might have been you returning that jinxed it for the entire NFL world. But I got 1 out of 4 last week, so I can't really claim to be too much expert in anything. But yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah, night to myself tonight. So in the living room today with a bit more elaborate background. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, see, I spot the Spider-Man poster there on the wall. And Jack, obviously, you'd have been delighted with the Thursday night. We'll get to that in a minute. But Dolphins 17-0 back on.
Yeah, great performance. The 2020 defense side show up. It wasn't obviously it was a big win for the Dolphins. They've been so poor this year, but I say it was probably a bigger win for the rest of the AFC North. This is just wide open now. I think the Dolphins at 3-7, especially in the AFC, they'd probably want to win out. 10-7 to even have a chance, and even at that, they mightn't have the AFC being so strong. I stayed up until 5 o'clock to watch it. I was actually hoping to go to sleep at halftime because I thought we might be down by about 17-21, but defense showed up, so I managed to stay up till 5 o'clock. I don't know how it went on so long, but it did.
3-3 at halftime. Not one for the purists there. If you stay, well done if you stayed up for that one. But it's 17-0 is on next season, Jack, isn't it? Just book it in now.
100%. Yeah, once we get to Sean Watson, apparently. So yeah, that'll do the job.
Do you know what? I'm fed up with that. I wish he would just hurry up and just sort himself out and just get it all out and done with. I'm so fed up of just seeing everyday Watson stuff going on. It's just so boring. It's worse than Brexit. Let's get into it then. Week 10 is already underway. Obviously, Dolphins plus 7.5 on the handicap. Under 46.5 was pretty much in by half time with just the 9 points. Half time. If you backed Mark Andrews to a Tagovailoa, obviously we came in. Jacoby Brissett was the starter there in that one, and the Dolphins' defensive touchdowns. You were winners, but not a lot else of touchdown end zones celebrations going on there. But there we go. Like I say, week 10 was a bit of week 9 was a bit of a write-off. I've probably just already jinxed week 10 there. There we go. We'll start as we always do, fellas, and we'll start with the handicap. I found this actually quite hard this week for the handicap.
Yep.
There's plenty of teaser teams available, and I've got down here Dallas 2.5, Pittsburgh 1.5, although I'm going to be gazumped by that one shortly. But and then the Bucks 2.5 as well. I suppose you could even do the Titans as well if you want to go from a minus to a plus. But Adam, we'll start with you. Handicap favorite one of the week.
Yeah, I'm with you this week. It's a tough week. I actually had the Ravens as one of my teaser legs this week, so that one's dead in the water already. So maybe time to get back on tomorrow. But yeah, I am really struggling this week. I've gone for the Browns plus 2.5. I just don't see how they can be underdogs against the Patriots, to be honest. Obviously, the Patriots at home, they've improved over the last couple of weeks, but the Browns stuffed my Bengals last week, and it was mainly the defense. Their defense has got a few more players back. They'll be able to get pass rush on Mac Jones, and they'll be able to defend a lot better than they have done in recent times. There's a risk that Nick Chubb doesn't go, but I'm not really that fussed about that either.
He's out.
Oh, is it official now? Sorry, I've missed that. Last I saw was that it was 50-50. But even so, I don't really care. The running scheme, the offensive line, they showed that Dearness Johnson can do it. In the performance against the Broncos, I think he'll still be able to run the ball for them. They'll still be able to move it. And as Jack pointed out, the motivation for all the AFC North now after last week is you get the chance to top the division after this weekend. If you want any more motivation than that, then I don't know what they're playing at. So yeah, I've gone for the Browns plus 2.5. I just can't ignore them getting nearly a field goal.
Pay up and get the 3.
Of course. Yeah, pay it a little bit and get the 3. There might even be a 3 available. I was just going on red zone prices.
Have I not taught you anything? Have I not taught? Probably not. To be fair, I didn't teach anyone anything. Moving on. That's a game I'll leave alone. I don't like that game. But yeah, if I'm a bet man, I'll protect the plus 3. But could be. Yeah, I think we mentioned a couple of weeks back that Patriots are still getting kind of the name value at higher, aren't they, in Foxborough? So probably baked into that a little bit. And I don't know what the line was prior, or if it's been that all the time. But yeah, Chubb being out may have moved it a point or two, perhaps might have been a pick or something. But that's not information I have to hand. Jack, favourite handicap for week 10?
to be honest, if the Dolphins game was on Sunday, I would have went with the Ravens -7.5. So yeah, thankfully that wasn't. But I'm going with the Lions plus 8.5 against the Steelers. Lions are winless, I know, but I watched that Steelers-Bears game, and the Steelers just, without the refs, I don't think they would have won the game. Some crazy calls, but 8.5. I wouldn't take the Steelers -8.5 against any team in the NFL. The Lions, obviously coming off a bye, they're well rested, and I'd say all they would have been hearing about the last week and a half or 2 weeks they've been off is the fact they haven't got a win yet. I can see the Steelers winning by maybe 3, but when you're getting over a touchdown, I just think plus 8.5 is something I have to bite on. Another one I was looking at was the Saints. I think plus 2.5 or plus 2. I know Kamara's not playing, but I think that the bookies might have overestimated the fact that they won against the Rams last weekend. That game, the offense done nothing really. It was just 2 good defensive plays, and the game got turned on its head. So the Saints would be kind of like my second choice, but no, I'll take the Lions plus 8.5 against the Steelers, who I'm not really impressed with at all.
No, I agree to the effect of I don't like taking 8.5 or whatever 8 for the Steelers, but yeah, I think if it was 7, I'd probably take the Steelers. But yeah, I don't like the Lions. If it's the Lions at home maybe, but I get what you're saying about they struggled against Chicago last week, and Justin Fields putting up nearly 300 yards through the air. Jesus Christ! Jared Goff and all that guff in that team. No thanks. I'll probably go against you as well, Jack, with the Saints. I've got Tennessee -3 here, so the line is 3. So if you wanted to take the Saints +3 as a field goal, then fine. I just don't see where the Saints are really going to score many points. I think this is going to be a defensive battle, and even though you say a couple of plays in that Titans game kind of changed the game a little bit. Titans is kind of a team I've changed my opinion on a little bit. I know I even went for the Rams last week on the handicap against the Titans, but I was very impressed with what they did defensively in that pass rush. And that defense just seems to be they were horrific last year on defense, and for some reason they just seem to be gelling together this year. And Saints that are playing probably Trevor Siemian. I don't know if they've called who the QB is this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Taysom Hill. But if it is Siemian, I like Titans. Titans, I think they were home, aren't they? Are they at home? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
Titans at home in Nashville. I'd say potentially like on a letdown spot because they beat the Rams last week, but I don't think the Saints really have much to offer. Mark Ingram isn't an Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram obviously knows that system quite well and has been it was one of their best running backs that they've ever had on the Saints, but he's not Kamara. He's not as dynamic as Kamara, and I don't see the Saints offense being dynamic enough. So I'll take the Titans at home in that one. But again, like I say, I can't pick my nose this year. So I can pick my nose. Well, I can't tip a canoe. Well, I can tip a canoe, but you get the point. So I went Titans. The other one was the Bucks. Again, I didn't really like the line of what is it? I think it's 8 or something. But
it's pretty small. 9.5. I think it's huge.
Was it
on
9?
The Bucks,
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, okay, cool. I just think that even if Godwin doesn't play and they've got Antonio Brown, Gronk out, but I just think Washington's defense has been a bit pathetic this year, and I think Brady off the back of a bye. Give me double digit. I'll double digit win probably. Obviously if it's creeping up, people seem to think the same thing. So I apologise for everyone's tickets that I've just blown. So there we go. Let's move on to totals then, folks. Jack, start with you.
So as I said last week, I'm going with unders for the rest of the season because overs just weren't working for me, and I'm going to go with the Saints and Titans under 44.5. I think it could be 44 most bookies now. As you said, like I can't really see Trevor Siemian getting much off the Titans defense, but same with the other way around. I can't really see the Titans offense getting much off the Saints defense. I know Tannehill didn't practice on Thursday. I think he might have practiced today. I think he's sick, but he'd probably end up playing. Derrick Henry, I know last weekend they obviously wet the Rams, but Peterson and Henry, like there's no comparison really between the two of them. I just see it being a defensive slog between the two teams, and 44.5. It's very, very appealing for me. That's my pick, going under with that. Yeah,
lovely stuff. That's what I did consider. And let's Adam.
Yep, can't argue with that one at all. I have gone 4 and over. I've actually won 2 unders in a week, 2 unders in the last 2 weekends. So probably should be sticking with that. But I've gone with the overs. Every man and the dog seems to be on the Vikings versus Chargers. Over 52.5. Both defenses are pretty poor. The Chargers' run defense is the worst in the league. The Vikings' run defense is the 26th best in the league, so 6th worst. And both teams got very good run games. Obviously, got Dalvin Cook going up against one of them. You've got Austin Eckler going up against the other side. I just think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. The Vikings won the field for nearly 100 snaps last week, the defense, in the overtime loss against the Ravens, and they got run all over. They are going to be tired still, I'd imagine. They're traveling across the country. I think that it's going to be a pretty close game. Hopefully the Chargers get out to a lead and the Vikings have to keep on passing, because the Vikings seem to have a habit of getting ahead early and then doing nothing. So I'm hoping that Justin Herbert's having one of his good games and they'll be able to put up some points and keep the scoreboard ticking here. But yeah, as far as everyone I've listened to this week seems to be on the over 50 of some kind. So I think everyone's saying up to 53, 54. So I'm quite happy to take the 52 now.
Well, I hope for your sake, Adam, it's not 49 points as the total in that one, because I'll come out with a pun next week saying so near, yet so far. No,
yeah.
No. Yeah.
No. I mean, you could have said 52 points and then I would have been a half point off. But yeah, you went for 49 and that ruined it.
Well, yeah, but you said 50 upwards of 50. So I was like,
fair enough. All right.
You did get my so near, so near yet so far joke, no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well,
yeah,
I
just
got
the response. It got the response it deserved.
Cool. The one I've gone for, I agree with the New Orleans one. That was my kind of next best. But I've gone for Panthers Cardinals under 45. 45 and a half, I thought that was quite high considering PJ Walker's the quarterback for Carolina. I know CMC is obviously the main part of their offense, but they're going to that Carolina offense is going to be heavily limited, even if it is PJ Walker. It's not a great, the way the Sam Darnold's been playing the last couple of weeks, obviously it's not a great drop down, but Colt McCoy, obviously they played quite well last week, the Cardinals, and it was a James Conner show against the San Francisco 49ers, but Panthers defense isn't too bad. I know they've had some injury issues as well, but they played okay against the Patriots last week and whatnot. So I just think 45 and a half was quite high. Especially I was expecting it to be like a 41-42. So getting a field goal there was I liked that on the unders. But again, I don't know what I'm doing, so don't follow what I'm doing. Let's move on then to touchdown scorers. Adam, we'll start with you.
I've gone for Colts players. There was 3 of them I looked at. It was Jonathan Taylor at 4-7, which I think is actually decent value still. Michael Pittman 11-10, and Nyheim Hines you can get 11-4. My actual pick is Michael Pittman. He's scored 4 in the last 3 weeks. Him and Carson Wentz seem to have found a little bit of a connection. He's getting a lot of red zone targets and getting 11-10 for someone to score against this Jags defense, who had the performance of their lives last week. Let's be fair, I don't think they're going to be able to do that kind of thing again. So I think that the Colts are going to run all over them. I think the Colts will be probably winning by 10, 14 points. I think they'll probably cover their spread. But yeah, Michael Pittman 11-10 was my official pick for this one.
Yeah, your talent's so amazing. You said half of that without moving your lips.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it keeps freezing. It's twice it's frozen now.
Cool, like it, Jack.
I got Mike Evans at 21-20. Bucks coming back from a bye last year when they came back from bye. I think they won out, didn't they? Last year,
on week 12, but they blew up after that.
21-20. I was surprised it was getting such good odds. No AB, Gronk is out. I think Godwin is game time decision. Mike Evans has 8 touchdowns so far this year, and he's got 4 in his last 2 games. So 21-20. I was actually shocked when I seen. I was sure he was going to be odds on. So I'm just going to go with that one for this weekend.
No, I agree. I looked at that one and I pivoted away because go on.
Sorry, no, he doesn't seem to have done anything. But then you're saying he's got 8 TDs. He's been very quiet this year. There's been hardly a mention of him, but he's obviously been brilliant again. So it's just a weird one with Mike Evans. Yeah,
no, he's always very underappreciated. Same with fantasy football as well. But he's probably because he's quite boom bust. You always find he gets a couple of touchdowns and decent yardage, or probably nothing at all if he's being shadowed. But keep an eye on the Godwin news because I've got a couple of notes here where, like, say, if you can, what we got here, Tyler Johnson's 9-4. Jalen Darden is 7s, and then you've got OJ Howard at 130. Karen Brate, I think, was a 92 or something like that. So if Godwin is out, get on Tyler Johnson maybe, or one of the other guys to step up. And I say this Washington defense is one of the leakiest in the league. So there's going to be plenty of passing touchdowns to go around. Tom Brady likes throwing passing touchdowns in his later years. But the one I've gone for, and again I couldn't believe how big this odds are relatively. And Adam, you mentioned it about the Chargers run defense being one of the worst in the league. Dalvin Cook, I've got here is 5 to 6. He should be a 2's-on shot, to be quite honest. In one of the highest scoring games of the week, 52.5 is one of the higher totals. Dalvin Cook, synchronized back scratching there, Adam. That was good. Dalvin Cook should get plenty of. He should probably even a candidate for 2 or more, 3 or more, that kind of stuff as well. So 5 to 6 is definitely one for your touchdown scorer Ackers. And again, Mike Evans, love those two together. 5 to 6 and 21 to 20. That's very good little double odds if you want to go a bit hefty into those two. I really like those two this week.
Yeah, I had one or two others. I was surprised to see Jordan Howard 5 to 2. I thought that was really big odds for the Eagles. Obviously, he scored three in the 2 games that he's played this year. And Pat Freiermuth, whatever he's pronounced, he's 2 to 1 to score for the Steelers. Thought that was fairly decent odds as well.
Yeah, what I looked at is a really long shot. Benny Snell 14s for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He was one I looked at as well, because as you're going to point out in a minute, I think they have no wide receivers, so they need to.
Do not. No, they do not. But the reason I looked at it was, so Pittsburgh, they've not been overly impressive and they've not blown teams away this season. But the one game that they blew the Denver Broncos out, or they were winning quite comfortably, Benny Snell got 5 carries in that game, and I can just see Detroit. If the way I look at it, I'd see Detroit not really putting up too much of a fight, regardless of what Pittsburgh do. I just think Benny Snell could get a decent amount of carries. And at 14 to 1, I thought that was quite big. And I say you've also got the scenario where the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning quite comfortably against a pathetic Detroit Lions. So Benny Snell at 14s was a bit too big for my liking. But he's not. It's one of those where if you catch it right, you'll catch it right. But my dog's going mental because my wife's about to come through the door. Lovely stuff. Let's get out of here then, guys, with props. Jack, start with you.
I went with Cordarrelle Patterson over 41.5 receiving yards. I think it's 43 or 44 in most bookies now. He had 126 receiving yards last week against the Saints. No Calvin Ridley, of course. I expect the Falcons and Cowboys game to be very high scoring. I would usually have gone for the overs in that game, but I made a promise that I wasn't going to touch the overs anymore this year, so obviously didn't go with that. 41.5. I'm very, very, very surprised it's that low. Very, very surprised. I will be putting, like 4 or maybe a 5-star confidence on that one. I'll put it in maybe more than one bet. So that's my one for this week. There
you go, 5-star treatment from Jack. You don't see it very often, but there you go. But I need to go back and do some research actually and see what his lines have been and whether they've been over. Because it always just seems that Cordarrelle Patterson's just an automatic over. But I'll do a bit of research and have a look into that. Adam, your favourite prop?
I've attacked that game as well. I've gone for Russell Gage over 4.5 receptions. Same reasons, really. They don't really have any pass catchers there. Obviously, you're going to get Kyle Pitts. He'll probably get the main treatment from the defense, and then that should leave Russell Gage open. He caught 7 of his 8 targets last week. Obviously, small sample size, but that was the one kind of proper game where he was essentially wide receiver 1. Matt Ryan's actually been really, really good in the last few weeks, which is a little bit of a surprise after a pretty terrible start for them. It's Russell Gage over 4.5 receptions. It's even money, so I was quite happy to say that. I was tempted with Zacchaeus, but he was I think 29 to 20 for over 2.5 receptions. So obviously not much kind of leeway there, but he had 3 last week, scored 2 touchdowns. But I've gone for who I think is going to have more of the ball. He had 81% of the offensive snaps last week, so he was on the field most of the wide receivers, and he is the most trusted one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield that Atlanta because Tajay Sharp was the guy the week before, wasn't it? And then everyone kind of follows Tajay Sharp, and then it's Russell Gage, and then it's one of those that probably is going to flip week to week.
Christian Blake week then.
Yeah, or something like that. True story. Matt Ryan, let's say, to just kind of put a button down on how well he's been playing the last couple of weeks. I got a trade offer in a random fantasy league that I'm in. It was Patrick Mahomes and Melvin Gordon for Matt Ryan and Darrell Henderson. I had the Matt Ryan side, but I kept Matt Ryan because I was like, Matt Ryan's just doing awesome against Dallas. Usually give up a decent amount of yardage, but there you go. I turned down Pat Mahomes, but Kansas City, not the Kansas City role, but they probably get it right, and I'll probably be proved wrong. I went for a couple here. Let me just see what I did. I attacked the Pittsburgh game because obviously the lack of wide receivers with Claypool out and James Washington, who's the other one? Juju Smith obviously is out as well. But there's a couple here. I've got Deontay Johnson over 6.5 receptions. Pat Frymouth over 3.5 receptions. Pat Frymouth was the one I liked. He's done it in the last 3 weeks. He seems to be coming to the fore a little bit in absence of those wide receivers. Then I had a look at the Tennessee New Orleans game. Like Mark Ingram's totals and lines were quite interesting. 55.5 rush yards, 3.5 receptions, 15.5 rush attempts. I also had a cheeky look at Trevor Simeon's passing attempts at 28.5. I just wondered if it was anything's indicated that it's a Taysom Hill game. Get the under on that would be quite interesting. But I think considering Tennessee's rush defense, I wouldn't be surprised if that's under anyway. But I didn't have enough conviction to kind of put that as my best bet. As Pat Frymouth is my best one. But yeah, it was just some interesting lines there. There's quite a lot of interesting lines this week, and it's like I say, if you kept your eye on all the injuries and stuff, obviously like Van Jefferson with Robert Woods going down, but obviously you had Nick Chubb, you had Chase Claypool, you got Chris Godwin for the Buccaneers. If you keep your eye out and are sharp on the lines, and you know who's offering what where, and there's plenty of money to be made this week, in my opinion. So, I just don't have the time because I've been working this weekend, so I'm not been able to get on anything. But they're the kind of ones I kind of had a look at. So there we go. Cool, lovely stuff. Anything from anyone else? Anyone else got anything to say?
No, what you were saying there about the lines is a very good point. What happened to me last week was I have Adam Schefter on notifications on my phone, and it came out that Rodgers had COVID, so I went straight on to Boyle Sports, put a decent amount of money on the Chiefs. I think they were 5-6, and obviously the Marcus went down, and got a nice text off Boyle Sports an hour and a half later, and an email saying I'm not allowed to bet with them anymore. So so that's the main thing. But basically, it cost me my account.
Wow.
That is Boyle Sportswear, but there we go. Here was a bet I was looking at actually. Obviously, off the back of, it's obviously not as much now because Robert Woods has gone down, but OBJ going to the Rams. But I got the Rams at 7-1. Well, not got 7-1. I saw they were 7-1 for the NFC with I think it was Paddy Power. I don't know if that's might be an old price, but I know Sky Bet had them at 5. So I just wanted to get your kind of thoughts on the Rams. Obviously, they signed Von Miller recently as well, and I just thought they would be a bit shorter for the NFC and or the Super Bowl because they're like four favourites. I know they obviously disappointed against Tennessee, but everyone has a bad game in the season. I just thought it was quite big.
Yeah, I think it's probably because they're coming second in the division that price, because they realistically they'd want to win that division if they want to have any chance. Otherwise, coming fifth, and they'll have they probably have to go to Dallas or something like that. They have to beat them away, then they'll have to win another away game. Like, it's other than that, if they win the division, they have every chance, I think. But the Cardinals are flying.
Yeah. The Rams and the Browns are the only two teams I've got money on from preseason. So obviously I was high on the Rams anyway. Bringing in OBJ didn't really change much for me, but now that Robert Woods has gone down, that obviously looks like a heck of a signing, frankly. You just get him and Van Jefferson to replace the Woods kind of contribution. I didn't realize it was about 7-1. That's really good. You can get 11-2 on the Chiefs for the AFC as well, and they've got a fairly easy second half of the schedule. So obviously it's a long shot on the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be too. I might have a nose on doing a double on them two, to be honest, and just have it.
Yeah, because I was looking at Sky Bet. Tennessee were favourites for the to AFC, and I couldn't work out whether that was right or not. But I think obviously compared, looking at the other teams doing quite poorly in Tennessee, like you say, having a decent second end, then probably they're rightful favourites. But yeah, absolutely. Interesting on Sky Bet as well. You can do cross doubles on. There's a market obviously for AFC and NFC. You can do like outright winner or to reach the championship game.
Yeah,
you can actually do cross doubles on those. So I had a cross double in my bet slip where I had the Browns to reach the AFC Championship game, the Bills to win the AFC, cross doubled with the Rams to get to the NFC Championship game, and the Rams to get to the NFC to win the NFC. So, especially because of the inflated price, I thought that was pretty decent. So I'll have a revisit that a bit later on today, and then there you go. But yeah, I just thought the Rams were quite a bit big. For the NFC. There we go.
I like them.
There we go. So mockers have been placed on the Rams for the rest of the season. Sorry, all Rams fans. We'll be back next week to go through all of our bets from this week and then give you our best bets for week 11. Thank you for joining us. You can get us at full F10Y at full 10 yards at touchdown tips for Adam at Jack T_95. If you want to go and follow us on the Twitter, subscribe, rate, review if you're on your Apple Podcasts or if you're watching on YouTube. Hi, goodbye. We'll very shortly. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Jack. We'll be back next week.
Cheers.